Okay, in this video we're going to take care of our BGP configuration for the core. So what we're going to do is we're going to get BGP operational with the 65,000 as our internal, or as the provider's BGP autonomous system number, and then go from there. And then we'll get our PE stuff going. So we want to get the all the BGP configuration done first, and then we're going to focus on getting our what do you call it? Whoa! I don't want to do that. That'd be a bad day. And then we'll focus on getting all of our VRFs and whatnot operational. So we're going to start on 6, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to exit out of here. Now in the last video I said that you don't have to run iBGP everywhere, and that's true if you're doing a partial mesh. So in this case, we're going to do full mesh, so we have to run iBGP everywhere. The reason why, and I'll show you. Router BGP. So you could chalk it up to, yeah, I was wrong, and I'm not afraid to admit that I make mistakes. So we're going to do that. We're going to type in neighbor, and we're going to type in 10.100 or 10.100.7.7 remote AS is going to be 65,000. And we're going to say the update source is going to be update source is loopback 0, right? So now, let me do this. Let me type in address family, a VPNv4 unicast, and I'm going to type in neighbor 10.100.8.8 question mark, and I'm going to type in activate, right? Activate. Problem is you need to specify this inside of normal mode. So you can't just go in here and start configuring stuff. So we're going to have the 7.7. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to type in Control A no. I want to make a bunch of peer groups. So how would we do that? We're going to type in neighbor, and we're going to say neighbor, and then the we're going to say iBGP underscore peers, and we're going to say peer group, hit enter. Now all we need to do is type in neighbor iBGP underscore peers, and we're going to say, what do we want to do? Well, we're going to do a remote AS. Remote AS is 65,000. We're also going to create the peer group first. I thought I did create the peer group. Neighbor peer group. No, that was not how. iBGP. Oh, haha. That's why. I punched it in wrong. That's why. So neighbor iBGP peers peer group, and then whack this guy out. Remote AS is 65,000, and then we're also going to do update source is loopback 0, and that's all we have to do. So now we've got that done, we can literally take this and type in neighbor 150, or I'm so used to the other topology, that's 7.7 peer group, and then iBGP peers, and hit enter. Now we just got to go in here and go 8.8, and then 9.9, and 10.10, and 11.11. Make short work of it, right? So now what we get to do is pull over a trusty dusty open notepad document here and go, and we're going to do a do show run pipe section BGP, and I just want to do the iBGP peering from here. So I'm going to bring this up just a little bit. and I'm going to do just a copy and paste. And just do this. And now I get to pull this out whenever I like and do whatever I need to. So now we're going to go to 7, so we're going to make this a 6.6. And go Control-A, copy, router 7, config T, and T. That's all we had for that. And then we're going to do 7.7, and we're going to go to router 8. Router 8, and go exit out of here, right click and paste. And then we're going to be able to go over to 9. So we'll just pull out this guy, make this 8. So this is there was a comment. Makes it easy to determine what router you're on by pulling that out. Yes, it does. Makes it very easy. And then we're going to go over to 9. We're going to go to exit out of here. I prefer to do it that way because sometimes it blows up on you. And then I'm going to go to 10. I'm going to make this a 9. And copy this guy in on 10. And get that running. Now normally you would not do this. You would do a you would set up a what do you call it? A route reflector and do that because it's a lot quicker. And then 11, you're going to make this a 10. And go to 11 and exit out of here, and then right click and paste. And there we go. So the BGP neighbor relationship comes up right away. It's a great sign. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to 6, and I'm going to say, now that we have this up, we're going to do a do show IP BGP summary. So we have all these guys up. We're going to whack this guy out, do this. We're not advertising anything in the BGP though, and we're not going to be. We're just going to be using BGP as a VPNv4 connectivity. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in address family VPNv4 unicast, and we're going to type in I don't think I have to do anything in here. Neighbor, let me bring this up just a little bit. Neighbor 10.100.7.7 activate. Now that does the send community and all that good stuff. So now we have the readjustment. So now what I get to do, and this is actually the cool part, I get to do this. I get to copy this. I don't have to actually hit the copy command. So I'm going to go back to global config, router BGP 65,000, and address family VPNv4 unicast, and I get to go in here and I get to go whack, boom, and then I get to 8.8 and go to the end of the line and do this again, and then 9.9 and whoop. That's 10 and 11, so pull these guys out for 10. Copy this back in here and do that. So now we have all of our sessions coming up. So now we should have VPNv4 going back and forth. So now I get to add just one more in here. That is not what I intended on doing. And we're just going to pull this guy and go 7 and 7. And we're going to go to, I'm sorry, 6. 6, that's what I wanted to do in this 6. So then we know what router we're on. And go to 7. And the cool thing is, since we're already here, we're going to type in address family VPNv4 unicast and just right click and paste. Voila. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to preface this by typing that in. Oh. Oh. Now watch where I'm getting stuff typed in here. And enter address family VPNv4 unicast, and we need to go to, we're going to be on 8, so we need to pull out, make this a 7. There's a comment, would it have just been easier to type this in ahead of time and just copy and paste it all in one shot? It would have. It's one way you could definitely do it. That's actually one of the more speedy ways to do it, is get everything set up on one router and then just tweak minor things from each router on. Because you can see there's a lot of configuration with BGP. That's what makes it sometimes less desirable to want to work with. It's just the amount of config that goes along with it. So now we're gonna pull this out. This is gonna become 8, and then we're gonna go on 9. And I don't think it takes that much longer. I mean, relatively speaking, it goes pretty quick. The main reason why I do it this way is just to give you different ways of doing stuff. May not be the fastest way, but gets the job done. Because I don't think I'd want to type this over and over and over and over and over again. And so there we go. So now we have all of our, we have VPNv4, not VPNv6. We have just straight VPNv4. And that literally took us just a hair under 11 minutes. So that's not too bad, if you ask me. So that's full BGP peerings. So we're typing show BGP VPNv4 unicast all. Now we're not actually learning anything, but if we type in summary, we have our peering. So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so forth. So we have all those. So we're to type in show BGP VPNv4 unicast for all and a particular neighbor. Or no, wait. We're not actually advertising any neighbors or any routes yet. So that's why we're not going to be able to see anything. So we're to do a show IP route. We're not going to get any BGP routes. We're just going to get a bunch of OSPF stuff, which is fine. So what we're going to do now is that's the end of this video. So we did all of our iBGP and VPNv4. Now that's all you have to do. Now if I was to do a show run pipe section BGP, what you're going to see is a couple things. Now we have the peer group here that says I want to peer with all these guys, so we got the peerings up here. Now the only kicker here is you see the send community extended. That's what you actually need. Now notice how I didn't actually type that command in. If we scroll up here just a little bit, we right clicked and we pasted. But because of the fact that it knew that it was an activate, so capability changed, it automatically pumped this guy in here. It put the send community extended in here as an iBGP peers. So it pulled this in here and plopped it in. My curiosity would be, okay, now do we have to do anything with that? Now by default it should automatically do this. Now I don't know if we have to go in there and that might come back to bite us in the butt, but I think we'll be okay. So next video we're going to take a look at getting VRFs configured and seeing how that's all set up. So the VRF is going to be pretty straightforward. Not a ton of configuration, but it's going to be understanding the connectivity between getting it operational, or getting the VRF configured, applied to the interface. So we have 6 routers, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different VRFs. We're not going to have to configure every VRF on every router. We're just going to configure VRF green here, VRF red and blue here, VRF red here, VRF brown there, VRF brown there. And then we just have to make sure that we reapply the IP address to the interface. So pretty straightforward when you think about it, but making sure that you have the right route distinguisher, the right route targets. That's going to be the key. So we're going to be using the same route target and route distinguisher in this video, or in this section, as we start going into like central services VPNs and internet VPNs and partial mesh VPNs, and we start load balancing VPNs, and start getting into more complicated MPLS deployments. That's going to change. So we'll go through that, and I will walk you through how that stuff works. Like I said, this is one of those things where I feel pretty confident with MPLS so far. I haven't had any problems getting things operational, but it's one of those things where I haven't gotten into the really complicated stuff. This is really straightforward. It's just it's more PEs than I've ever dealt with before, and a little bit wider girth on the amount of PE to CE routing that I've dealt with. So it's actually pretty cool. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to stop this video. In the next video we're going to get into the we're going to configure the VRFs and get the VRFs applied to the interfaces, and then we're going to get we'll go from there. So I think that's because after that you have to redistribute from BGP into the routing protocol, except for on 9 and 10, 8 and 9 you won't have to do that because you don't have to redistribute from PE to CE BGP into VPNv4 BGP because of the fact that it's the same routing protocol, just different aspects of it. where we'll have to do redistribution on 6, 7, 10, and 11. So I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.